everyone. Welcome back to Open. So, starting a business is very difficult, but sustaining a business during this pandemic and economic crisis presents a lot more obstacles. So, our next guest founded VJR Enterprises, a consulting firm that specializes in leadership strategies, organization development, brand elevation, and life and career coaching to elevate and enrich talent. She's also the founder and president of the Female Collaborative, a global network for progressive women. Please welcome Victoria Jenn Rodriguez.
Hi there. Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
I love that you have flowers by your side.
Well, thank you. You know, it's the summer. I'm about, exuding life and joy. Flowers are good energy.
They are good energy. And I've actually been sharing with people that at this particular time in our lives, I think Mother Nature is really calling upon us to commune with nature.
I agree.
And so here's to bringing nature into your home.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And I recently was gifted a money tree. So he's growing over there. His name is Mr. Miyagi. So he's, bringing life into my home. So it's all good. I see you on it. You got the nature behind you.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm all about plants and greens and like I love what you named your money tree though, Mr. Miyagi. I'm catching on to your, I'm like BxRx Enterprises.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi.
So, I follow you on Instagram, and I love the messages that you provide for entrepreneurs, and I love the work that you've been doing, and thank you for being here with us today. I think it's important that coming from being an independent contractor and an entrepreneur that we shed some light on what this new normal looks like for everyone.
Right.
And what you feel in your expertise, right? Being that you specialize in this area, what do you think people should be doing right now to prepare for this reopening that is currently in progress?
Well, I think on the personal side, people need to take a minute, they need to breathe, and they need to embrace self-reflection, right? Now is a beautiful time for you to self-reflect. It's a beautiful time for you to pivot. It's a beautiful time for you to rethink your model. It's a beautiful time to reinvent yourself. And so I think just shifting the perspective from trauma to challenge to scarcity to fear and transitioning that over to change is good. And this is an opportunity for me to reinvent myself and really utilize my full strengths and bring that to the market and position myself in any way that I want is unique and is significant to this moment in time. So personally, I think you need to take some time to really do the inner work in order for you to come out on top past this pandemic.
So that's interesting. That's a nice holistic approach to transitioning, because prior to us even getting on air, I was sharing with you like the ones that are going to survive are the ones that are adaptable. It's adaptable businesses, right? Because at this particular time, it's pretty much required that you adjust and kind of reinvent yourself, as you're saying. So what you're saying is that to just take that time to be with yourself first.
Absolutely. I think what's beautiful about this moment and what it has forced us all to do is not only reinvent ourselves, but also reinvent the way we do business, how we interact, our approach, how we think about inclusion and diversity, how are we serving our consumer base, what are the messages we are putting out in the market. So it is quite a revolutionary time, right, for us to really come into our own our voice, figure out where we stand on policies, figure out what legacy we want to leave behind. And we can do a lot of work, both personally and professionally. So it's an opportunity for you to truly examine, dissect, and reassess where you want to be in this world and what type of impact you want to have.
So what would you consider the most common challenge that your clients are all dealing with right now? What is the one common denominator in challenges?
So are we speaking from my consumer side or my institutional clients? Because I have both.
Right. So let's find a common denominator from both.
Okay. Well, I would say for both, everyone's concerned about profit, right? Money.
Right.
How are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to pay our employees? How are we going to make sure this machine is able to keep going? So obviously money, and not really sure about where money is going to come from next, or just having to reinvent how you were able to acquire clients, I think is a new challenge that people need to understand and fully grasp and figure out how they're going to reinvent themselves with that. So money is definitely key. I would say mental health is huge. And on the personal side, we see it affecting us.
Right.
And on the institutional side, we see it affecting our employees, right? How are we going to make sure that we are keeping morale up? How are we going to make sure people still feel like they want to work and be productive and contribute? Because a lot of people don't, right? On the personal side, they are suffering. They've got families to think about. They've got families suffering from the virus. And so mental health is huge as well. And I would say also imposter syndrome is something that companies are suffering from, right? Because a lot of companies feel like they need to do what every other company is doing, especially with all the press releases, right, around Black Lives Matter. It kind of seems like the same PR team is doing the work for everybody.
Right.
But that's because companies are feeling like imposters. Like, how do I operate in this new space? And then from an individual perspective, people are feeling like they don't belong. They don't know how to survive in this new normal. They don't know where they fit. And that's why that internal work is so important, so that you can do everything in your power to exit the negative talk from your mind and really become one with yourself and own who you are. And then the last thing I will say, because I like to put a positive twist on everything, is it's an interesting time to be an extrovert and an interesting time to be an introvert, right?
Interesting.
So as an extrovert, you're probably like suffering because you need that social community. You need to be around people. You need to build with people. You feed off of that, right? That gives you energy. But as an introvert, it's the best time to be alive right now, because you don't got to go nowhere. People come to you. You can do it out of the comfort from your home. And so there's pros and cons to everything that is going on right now. But what's really amazing is these are challenges that we all share. So we should be more inclined to collaborate, more inclined to communicate, and be more vulnerable than we've ever been before, which I think both COVID as well as what's happening with the civil rights movement right now is forcing us to do it, whether we like it or not. And I love it.
I know. I love that part of it too. I'm calling it the equalizer. It's
Yes.
the great equalizer. And
Absolutely.
based on what you focus on is what determines how you're going to come out of that.
Correct. Yes.
And so, right. I'm just saying,
Absolutely.
right? And so what I'm listening from you is that what really is going to determine that, and this is based on everything you just shared, is how authentic you're going to show up.
Right.
Right? Even
Yes.
be it an individual or even a company, because you're saying right now that you're dealing with both entities, right? And the just the term imposter syndrome, and when you say something like that and you're referencing an actual institution or an organization, it's kind of like, wow, they're in the same boat as everybody else.
Exactly. And that is why this moment is so special, and why we need to use it as our permission to finally accept who we are and own who we are. Because those who show up their most authentic selves online, right? Those who show up in their most vulnerable way, people are responding to that. People want to be a part of that vulnerability, because now it's common amongst all of us. And now we're seeing that, right? It's finally, we're all coming to the realization that we're more alike than we are different. And we have to make a personal decision of what are we going to do with that magic, because that is definitely magic.
Love it. Thank you, Victoria, Jenn,
Yeah.
everyone. I love that you just closed this with here's to finding similarities in our differences.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Victoria, Jenn, everyone. Thank you once again. And to visit Victoria, Jenn, you can go to BxRenterprises.net and thefemalecollaborative.com. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a fun summer arts program virtually, but nevertheless, it's a summer program. Don't go anywhere.